How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball and welcome back to another reaction show. We're going to be reacting to our pre-Euros predictions. And as you can probably see, we're struggling a little bit here in the studio today. It did come down to a very gutting end for England last night, losing to Spain 2-1 in the final. But we're not here to feel sorry for ourselves. We're here to react to our, some would say good, some would say absolutely shocking predictions that I think I made before this tournament.
Yeah, let's get into it. I think it's been a good tournament. I think I've really enjoyed the whole month of football. There hasn't been any crazy games, but let's see how we thought things were going to go.
Yeah, we'll start off with player of the tournament. It was Rodri that ended up winning it. Sim went for Bernardo Silva. I went for Kylian Mbappe. I mean, Mbappe was probably let down of the tournament, you would say.
He did break his nose in the first game.
He did break his nose, but I mean, he came back quickly after that. Second game, I think he missed one game or two games with the broken nose. But when he was back, what did he do? He scored a penalty throughout the whole tournament. And that was it.
Yeah, scored a penalty, had a lot of shots, but couldn't really find the target.
It was poor display from Mbappe, and he was the first one to come out and say that.
Yeah, he didn't have a good tournament. I think he'll acknowledge that. You really associate Mbappe with stepping up in these big moments, that hat-trick in the final. But in this time, maybe it's because of that incident. Obviously, when you're playing with a mask or you've got that broken nose thing, you're thinking about it probably a lot of the tournament. Maybe that affects your game, and maybe that's what we'll put it down to. So even
when he took off the mask, he was no good. So
yeah, it wasn't a good tournament from him.
It was just really poor.
Bernardo Silva, I actually think he played well. Obviously, the prediction was I thought Portugal were going to win it, so I was picking someone from the winning team, so I went for him. I think he did play well in the tournament, but obviously Portugal went out, in the quarters? Probably a bit earlier than they would have expected, but they went out to Spain, didn't they? Was it Spain? So, look, what do we think of Martinez at Portugal? Is he ruining another golden generation, or was it, you just got to give it to Spain?
I think you do have to give it to Spain, but I would expect more from Martinez. I think Portugal, for the talent
it was France they went out
was
to.
France, yeah. It was France, but you would expect them to do better, Portugal, with the talent that they do have. I do think, you actually made a big call before the tournament started about Ronaldo being, a weak point in their team and he could be holding them back, and I think he actually did do that.
Yeah. I agree. I think he did. I think if they had a different striker who wasn't missing so many chances, did he score at all during the tournament in the end?
Ronaldo, no.
Didn't score at all.
He probably had one of the most shots as well in the whole tournament.
He missed that penalty in the
But you know what? With that penalty, credit to him to stepping up first in the penalty shootout and putting it away like he did. That's what you call, a champion.
But, you see Messi, I know he went off injured in his final, but he's still having a big effect on his team, and Ronaldo, I just feel like at this point it's just sad watching him play at the moment.
Yeah. All right, well, neither of us were right on player of the tournament. Golden boot, Sim went for Kylian Mbappe, was nowhere near. I went for Harry Kane, and actually he was up there with level on top goal scorer.
Well, I get what
he was one of the winners.
one of 5 players, or 6 players it was. So look, wasn't the best tournament from Harry performance-wise, but he got his goals. I think all 3 of his goals were one penalty, one finish against Denmark, which just fell to him in the 6-yard box.
Extra time winner, yeah.
And then the one against Slovakia, which just fell to him with a header. So not great goals, but obviously you got to put them away. It was a penalty, good penalty against the Netherlands though.
It's a poor tournament from Harry Kane. You got to say it how it is. Coming off with half an hour to go in the final when you need a goal, he won't be happy with that, surely.
Yeah, you're the captain of England. How many goals he scored for Munich, and when you're 1-0 down in your biggest moment, or one of your biggest moments, you're being taken off. He'll surely have to think about why that is the case, because it was probably the right decision. That's the sad thing about it. A lot of people were saying, Gary Lineker, I was watching his podcast before, and he said, when I was Harry's age, my legs started to go a bit, and a year later I retired from international football because I felt like I wasn't at my best, and he wonders whether Kane is in the same is in the same period. Is that too harsh on Kane, or is there an element of truth to that?
I don't know. Time will tell. I don't know what Kane feels like in his legs, if his legs are going or not. He did have an injury just before the Euros, so maybe you can put it down to that. But look, he's just had an insane season, hasn't he, for Bayern Munich? He's been brilliant throughout the whole year, scored a mad amount of goals. Was it 40 goals, 41 goals this season for Bayern Munich? So nobody really expected a performance like this from Harry Kane in the tournament. Is he aging a bit? Yes. Is that getting to him? I don't know. It's hard to say.
And is it the fact that the way we play as well probably doesn't suit him, England? That is. We play very deep, and every time we get the ball, he's kind of on the halfway line a lot of the time. And
that's the thing. Like, I felt like we should have played a bit more to Harry Kane's strength, have him dropping deep and orchestrating the play a bit more, and then have 2 runners either side of him to get him behind it. We didn't do that. Yeah,
I just felt as well, whenever England got the ball, a lot of the time, like, England were very deep and they didn't have enough players around him to support him. And he either had to drop deep and then pick up the ball with not many players around him, or he had to do some hold-up play on the halfway line, which I just feel like is not his biggest strength at the moment. So it wasn't his best tournament, but he still got the golden boot, kind of.
Yeah,
I don't know.
kind of.
Did he actually get a golden boot?
I think the new rules. Everyone can correct me if I'm wrong. The old rules were whoever gets most assists, if it's a tie, will win the golden boot. But I think they changed it this year. So if you're level, then it gets shared, which was a weird. I don't know why they changed it. But Dani Olmo, Cody Gakpo, Mikitadze, Kane, Musiala, and Schrantz all getting 3 goals.
Schrantz, wow.
Yeah, it's mad that the golden boot this year is only 3 goals.
Yeah, not a lot, is it?
Big strikers didn't step up in this tournament.
No, absolutely right.
Let's go to the Young Player of the Year. Sim went for Lamine Yamal, who got the Young Player of the Year. I went for Jamal Musiala. And I do think Jamal Musiala was very impressive this tournament. I think he was Germany's best player. He was, I wouldn't say carrying them, but he was providing big moments for them. And I felt like if Germany were to go all the way, Musiala probably would have won it.
Yeah, he was brilliant. Obviously bagged 3 goals and joint golden boot as well. But Yamal is just ridiculous, isn't he? He got 4 assists and a goal, I think it was. That goal being the one against France, which was out of this world.
What a goal.
30 yards out. To do that as a 16-year-old is ridiculous. I think Declan Rice brought out a stat saying, when COVID hit, he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like, that, and that feels like yesterday, you know what I mean? And now he's here, balling it out at one of the biggest international tournaments. He's an absolute star in the making. I thought he had a brilliant final. I thought he, was unlucky not to get on the score sheet in the final as well. In every game, he made an impact.
He's been brilliant throughout.
And to be that good at such a young age is absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? What a player he is, and he's just gonna go from strength to strength. And still 16. I mean, he's going to play for another 5 years. Look, in 5 years' time, he's going to be Musiala's age.
Yeah,
in
mad.
5 years' time, and he's already this good. That's insane.
Did you see what Messi's son said? Messi's son says, "My dream is to play with Yamal." So when Messi's son, when he comes, if he comes through at Barcelona, and because apparently he has quite high hopes for him, Yamal, I reckon they could play together.
Well, it'll be Messi versus Yamal in the finalissima.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So that'll be interesting as well. They get to play against each other.
But yeah, Yamal deserves to win it. I think definitely a shout for Nico Williams as well, because I think he was brilliant throughout.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. And if anyone had any doubts about him, I think this tournament showed he's a massive
the real
player
deal.
already.
The real deal.
Yeah, and if imagine if the talks at the moment at Barca are going to get him, and that Yamal-Nico wing partnership, which we saw at the Euros, is going to be at Barca maybe for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah. In terms of the 3 best young players of the tournament, it is Yamal, Musiala, and Nico Williams, isn't it? Can you think of anyone else?
Gula, who we'll talk about in a second, but I thought he had a really good tournament. I thought he played really well. I guess Bellingham counts. I don't
think so. He wasn't on their level, in my opinion.
He didn't play as well as them, but obviously in the first game against Serbia, he played pretty well. And he had that overhead kick against Slovakia, and he got the assist in the final as well. Really good layoff for Parma. So I think he contributed.
I think he had moments, but he didn't play consistently well throughout the tournament.
I think when you go to the impact on the teams, I think the others probably are ahead of him. But obviously he's still only 21, isn't he? Bellingham, easy to forget that.
Florian Wirtz as well, had a good tournament.
Yeah, he was pretty good. So a lot of good. Look, there's a lot of good young players, to be honest. Seems like getting younger every tournament.
Yeah. In terms of breakout stars, Sim went for Arda Güler. I went for Benjamin Sesko. In terms of Sesko, he had a non-event tournament pretty much. Didn't score. In their last group stage game, I think, against England, wasn't it? He went through on goal, probably should have scored, or was that the game before?
No, it was in the round of 16.
Oh, that was the Portugal game.
Extra time.
Yeah.
Big moment for him.
So
that was
a big moment for him, and he didn't put it in the back of the net. If he does put that in the back of the net and but it just wasn't to be.
I did feel for him a bit because I actually think individually he played fairly well, but obviously the team he plays for not the strongest team of the tournament, and it was always going to be a struggle. I thought,
but he had moments.
He definitely had moments, and he gave opposition defenders a bit of a torrid time. And you've got to remember, he's doing a lot of the legwork. He's there up front a lot of the time on his own, having to get past one or two defenders sometimes to even just get a shot off or anything like that. He's not getting chances created for him like other players and strikers are. So it was a really thankless job from Sesko. And I thought in the circumstances, yes, he didn't score, but I thought he played fairly well, and he showed why a lot of teams are after him. In terms of Ardagula, I really thought he announced himself as like we saw glimpses at Madrid, but obviously he's had an injury. There's a reason he's signed for Madrid, but I think we saw at this tournament what a serious talent this kid is as well.
I think he is the breakout star of the tournament. You know, Turkey impressed a lot of people this year. Everyone in the last World Cup was saying Turkey were like the dark horses, and they obviously flattered to deceive, but they really announced themselves with a lot of good players in their team. And Ardagula, he was central to everything. The dynamite shots that he has, work rate, tenacity, I think he's got it all. And he didn't get many minutes for Real Madrid last season, but I think you're going to see him have a lot more minutes next season.
Yeah, still only 18, so 2 years older than Yamal still, which is incredible.
That goal he scored in the group stage. Was that goal of the tournament?
Well, against, was it Georgia he scored it, I think?
Yeah.
Incredible goal. Yeah, I think it's probably that or Yamal's against France, probably one of the two.
You got to put Bellingham's in there as well.
Bellingham's there. But yeah, Gula I thought was brilliant. What a player. And there's rumours whether he'll go out on loan next year or not, but whether Madrid keep him or not, I think he clearly showed that he's ready to play at this level already, which is mad. He doesn't look like he's going to need time to adjust, does he?
But you know what? Every single time he steps on the pitch for Real Madrid, he seems to score. You know, he's such a dangerous player. He always finds the right areas, and
you got to remember as well, beginning of the season, he got a big injury, didn't he? Which ruled him out for a lot of the season. So for him to come back from that injury and perform as he did at the Euros is incredible.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just trying to get his stats. I mean, he scored 6 goals in 10 games for Real Madrid last season.
Yeah, clearly showing what a talented player he is.
Yeah.
And he showed he has the ability to carry a team as well. Not carry, but be the main player in the team as well, which is mad.
At the age of 18.
Yeah.
So yeah, brilliant stuff from Ardagula. Definitely the breakout star, in my opinion, of the tournament. Dark horses, we both went for Netherlands. They did reach the semi-final going out to England, so not too far away.
Yeah, I thought they were unlucky. I thought they had a really good tournament. Obviously, their defence was pretty decent. They'll be disappointed the way they went out, because I thought against England, they had some chances, and I think Dumfries hit the bar late on. Also, they conceded that last-minute goal, so they were not far away from a final. But I think if you would have told Netherlands, you'll get to the semi-finals for the tournament, I think they probably would have taken that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you got to give credit to Coman, the way they did play throughout the tournament, but I also think, in certain games, that they didn't do themselves justice. Against Austria, I felt like they got battered. Against England, they didn't turn up really. It was just a wonder goal from Xavi Simons, wasn't it? That kind of kept them in the game till the latter stages. So I think it was a bit of up and down from Netherlands, and maybe fortuitous to be in the easy side of the draw, maybe, just like England, to be fair. Surprise package of the Euros. Sim went for Austria. I think another one that's probably absolutely spot on. Austria were brilliant. They really captured the hearts of everyone watching, I think, with the way that they play their football. I went for Ukraine, and you know what? Ukraine, I think they set a record this tournament of going out with 4 points, the highest ever. So they were very unlucky to go out at that stage.
Yeah, I would say with Austria, I would say actually the surprises were probably Turkey in the end, because I don't think anyone expected them to get to the quarters. Austria were, I think, they were brilliant in every game, I would say, and they'll just be really disappointed that they went out to Turkey in the manner that they did, because they were basically the tournament, and it was basically between both teams.
It hinged on that game, who the surprise of the tournament was.
I think Turkey just about edged it, just because they got through, and they were really an exciting team to watch. But Austria, they played so well throughout the whole tournament. They were really unlucky to lose by an own goal to France. The other 2 games, brilliant win against Austria, and a brilliant win against, was it Ukraine?
Yeah.
No, not Ukraine. I can't
Who?
remember. Austria. They won another game.
Austria beat
3-1. They won 3-1 against them.
what in the group stage?
Yeah, they won 3-1 against someone. I remember Arnautovic scored a late penalty. They played so well.
They played Poland
Poland,
Netherlands, lost to France 1-0.
Really good win against Poland as well. So they really played so well, and they were the reason why I would say they weren't the surprise, because they probably were favourites going into that game against Turkey, and Turkey really pulled out of the bag. So they played very well. Austria can definitely hold their head up high and maybe have a good future under Rangnick if they keep him. But I think Turkey just shade it.
What about Switzerland?
Switzerland, they got to the quarters. Did really
Switzerland
well as well.
got to the same stage as Turkey. They lost to England in the last minute of the game.
No penalties.
Penalties, sorry. And they were really impressive throughout the tournament.
Beat Italy.
Yeah, smashed Italy. They didn't just beat them. They absolutely wiped the floor with them. And they look like a really exciting team, solid at the back, know how to attack. I might even give it to Switzerland,
Switzerland got a good shout as well. Yeah, because you look at their team, and they don't. I mean, they got Xhaka, but they don't have too many superstars, do they?
You got Akanji
as well, I guess. Well, I guess you could say the same about Austria. But I think Switzerland as well deserve a lot of credit. Really well organised team, and but I also felt like that team's been together a while as well, and maybe they felt like a bit like Croatia in like 2018, like this could be a chance for them to like really go for something special, but it didn't quite happen for them.
But no one even expected them to get to the quarters, did they?
No.
And they had a really good tournament, and they definitely should be proud of themselves. Flop of the tournament, and this is where it gets bad, man. My flop of the tournament, this is probably the worst. So if you remember in the last World Cup, I put France as flop of the tournament. They ended up losing in the final. I've gone one better this time. I went for Spain, flop of the tournament. You went for Belgium, which they probably were flop of the tournament. Did they go out? Did they go out in the group stages?
No, they went out to France in the round of 16.
Oh yeah, that was it.
I would probably say Italy might be flops of the tournament, because I thought going out to Switzerland round of 16, very disappointing for them. I don't think anyone in the groups went out that unexpectedly. I can't remember anyone going out. Maybe Croatia, you could argue. They went out in the group, so they got a case for being the flops.
I'm trying to think. Scotland, Croatia, Albania, Slovenia, Serbia, Poland, Ukraine. No, that's it.
No, too unexpected.
No.
So I would say it probably is between Belgium and
Croatia,
Croatia or Italy.
Yeah.
Maybe Belgium, just because I thought they were so bad in the groups as well. They lost to Slovakia 1-0. They also drew 0-0 to Ukraine.
Yeah. And
they only had a 2-0 win against Romania, I think.
Which they actually performed quite well in that game, but the other two they were poor.
And then to be fair, against France though, they lost 1-0 to a late own goal. They actually played quite well in that game. They were a bit unlucky. It was a late Vertonghen own goal, who I thought actually stepped into the tournament, played really well. It was very impressive, such a veteran. Maybe Italy though, I would guess the flops, because they were flattered to deceive a bit in the groups. They were actually really close to losing to Croatia on the final group game, which would have put them in third place.
Last minute goal, yeah.
And then they petered out really poorly against Switzerland.
Yeah, even against Albania, they nearly dropped points there. They had to turn it around from 1-0 deficit. So, yeah, I'll probably agree with you in Italy, but it's most definitely not Spain. Spain were the best team in the tournament, pound for pound, throughout the whole tournament. From the first game all the way down to the final, they were brilliant.
I think apparently they're the only team to win every game in the Euros.
Really?
Which I was trying to think, because they played, obviously they won the Euros back to back in 2008 and 2012. Apparently that team didn't win every game.
Yeah.
So apparently this team statistically is better than that team, which is mad to think about.
It is mad, and you look at it, even when they changed their whole 11, majority of their 11 in the last group stage game, they still won the game. Mm-hmm. So you got to give them credit, give the manager credit, and Ballon d'Or is probably coming from that squad. And talks of Rodri, talks of Carvajal. I think if you're going to go on player performance, it's got to be Rodri for the Ballon d'Or, and that will make an even bigger mockery of the Premier League Player of the Year last season.
Agreed. I think Rodri should get the Ballon d'Or. I thought he was the best player in the league last season for sure,
and he was the best player in the Euros, hands down.
Yeah, in the Champions League, I thought he played really well, even though they didn't go all the way. But yeah, I think he's just a phenomenal player, Rodri. I can't think of another player in his position who makes such an impact in every facet of the game. He's unbelievable.
Do you think he's up there in the conversations when you're talking about a Sergio Busquets now? Because like everyone talks about Busquets like the best of all time, kind of in that position, or the Makalelis of this world. Do you think Rodri is in that conversation now?
I think so. Now he's got an international trophy under his belt. If he goes on to maybe win another one, I think for me, you might even be talking about overtaking him. But you've got to consider how many league titles he's won.
Yeah,
he's now also won one Champions League. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the last one he's won.
And he's central to all of them as well.
Yeah, how many Champions League did Busquets win? He won, I think, 3. I think
three or four.
3, I think it was, because he won 08, he won 2011, and he won 2015. So I can't remember any others Barca won in that time. So I think he won 3, and he won 2 Euros and a World Cup and a bunch of league titles. Yeah. So Rodri, in terms of trophy, still got a lot to go. But I don't think Busquets is brilliant. I don't know if he had those that ability to make a difference in the final third like Rodri does.
I agree.
But then again, he was just so effective in his job. It's hard to look away from that. But I think Rodri's definitely. Look, there's a case to be made for it, for sure.
And he's still got a long way to go, Rodri. How old is he? 25?
Yeah, no, older than that, like 27.
27. Even so, he's coming into his prime now. And
Busquets was playing to 35?
Yeah. Oh, he's 28, Rodri. Yeah.
Still, but Busquets, a player like him could go for a while.
Yeah,
because they're so positionally smart and they know how to manage themselves.
Yeah. And we go on to the Euros winners. Sim picked Portugal. I picked France. I guess I was actually closer than you on this one because France did get to the semis, but I felt like France were terrible throughout. They kept it tight. Deschamps, I think they need a change of manager now. They need someone that can play a bit more on the front foot. It was every France game was just more boring than England games.
They scored 4 goals throughout the tournament.
Yeah,
2 own goals, 1 penalty, and the goal in the semi from was it Moani?
Yeah.
So desperately disappointing. It's a weird one because they have kind of set up in a similar way in previous tournaments. But maybe it's just Mbappe's been a lot better. He's made a bigger difference in previous tournaments. They got away with it.
But that's what they need is his threat on the counter-attack, and they didn't really have that.
Yeah. Deschamps definitely he just has a way of playing. He's never been an expansive manager. He's never been a manager who's going to get this France team playing incredible football. He's always been a counter-attacking manager, and that's what they did in this tournament. But they were just less effective at it. Although they did get to another semi-final, so they would argue wasn't the worst tournament in the world. But I agree. I think every game, and even going back to the group stages, Austria, they were second best. Even that Poland game, they drew 1-1 on the final game, and they were really poor in that game. They could have easily lost that. They drew 0-0 to Netherlands. They then drew
with Poland. Beat Belgium.
Beat Belgium with an own goal, 1-0. Where they could have easily lost that.
Beat Portugal on penalties,
and then they lost to Spain in the semis after being 1-0 up as well.
Yeah.
So they didn't play well, to be honest, throughout the whole tournament.
But I'm looking at the top nations, Spain, England, France, Portugal, all the top nations in the tournament, right? I don't think anyone really performed that well on a consistent basis, apart from Spain. Spain were the only ones.
Yeah, I look at Portugal as well. Had them as my winners, and I thought they were playing some really nice football pre-tournament with Martinez in charge. I really thought they were coming into it for the confidence, but
they started well. Or maybe they didn't start well, actually.
I thought they were actually they needed a last-minute goal against the Czechs,
True,
didn't
they?
I thought they were pretty poor in that game. The Albania game, they lost to, who did they lose to on the Georgia?
They lost to Georgia,
in the final group game.
They had a good performance against Turkey, that was it.
Turkey, they won. They were very convincing in that one, 3-0. They then, in the knockouts...
But that game against Czech Republic, when they did just about win, I mean, they were pumping Czech Republic for the majority of the game. They just couldn't find the back of the net.
Yeah, they were a better team, probably, but I wasn't convinced watching them play, especially in that first half. I thought they were quite poor and they went 1-0 down. And then you go to that Slovenia, they win on pens. They were really disappointing. And if Sesko scores that 1-1, that's in extra time.
Yeah, they're out.
They're out of the tournament, and they could have been out in the round of 16. And obviously they didn't score a goal against France. And I think with all that attacking talent there, they will be a bit disappointed with that as well.
All right, well, those are our predictions. Let me know how you got on with yours. And yeah, I'll take all the mud for my Spain prediction to go as flops of the tournament. Not too sure what I was thinking, to be honest. But
Probably too concentrated on Morata up front, probably.
yeah, maybe. Didn't think hard enough about Yamal and Nico Williams, the best two wingers, out-and-out wingers, probably at the tournament. So, it is what it is. I'll let you throw all the mud at me in the comment section below. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.